Hello. In this video, I'm going to talk about 3 different ways to grow an account. 2 of the ways are very common and used every day. Their third way is already used in Equilibrium and is now built into Jackrabbit Relay. Now I'm going to frame this context strictly within the discussion of growing the account itself in as reasonably quick as possible with minimal risk. So let's start with the most common approach that everybody pretty much uses as the de facto standard: flat position size. As we can see, we have very simple metrics: $1,000 budget, 1% deviation, 1% take profit. Now, I'm using 1% of my balance for my position size. So that's $10. So as I make purchases through the accumulation process, my total volume goes up $10. My profit at each level also goes up appropriately. For example, if I have $70 worth of volume and I hit my take profit boundary, I'm going to make 70 cents. Short, sweet, and simple. If my take profit boundary is only hit after the first purchase, I'm only going to make 10 cents. This grows very conveniently. It grows at a fixed rate and it grows very generously. This is the de facto standard for trading because it allows you to take a $5,000 budget and trade 5 different coins, hedging them against each other. The reason you can do that is because your position balance or your position size never exceeds $10. That is, the original balance per coin is $1,000. 1% of that is a fixed rate of $10. So if you have $10,000 in your account and you're only trading 1 coin, it is still going to be limited to just that $10 position based upon the original premise of the $1,000 budget. The only way around that is if you manually adjust your settings, which you can do. But the benefit to that, of course, is consistently profits. The consistency of your profits through 10 trade cycles would be $12. The reliability of this cannot be understated. It is one of the best ways to grow an account very moderately. But it doesn't maximize your budget. You start out with $1,000 and now you've decided you wanted to deposit $500 more into your account. So now you have a $1,500 budget. You have to modify your signals by hand to take advantage of that new position size. It doesn't change for you. That's why it's called flat position sizes. The entire process remains static and unchanging. And that leads us to the second approach, which is very common. And that is the traditional percentage position size. So $1,000, 1%, that's a $10 size. So our trading volume is then $10, our profit 10 cents. Now, if we accumulate, say, 4 or 5 positions. You'll notice that as the balance decreases, so does the position size. 1% of 970 is $9.70. It's not the flat $10 we wanted. And that shows up when you actually take your profit. So by looking at this consistently, even though this account will change dynamically no matter what you do to it, you're not maximizing your profit for an accumulation-based strategy. So, okay, you start out at 1,000, you add 1,500. Without changing your signals, the account automatically adjusts. That is great because that means it will grow on its own without you having to mess with it. So let's put it back to the $1,000. And now let's add the $1.14 to see what would happen next. So 1001 as you can see, it now refactored everything on the basis of that growth. And it will do that each time. It will grow constantly. That is a big bonus to this strategy. And it'd help if I type right and in the right positions. So this is the perfect way of growing the account, with the exception that your position sizes decrease over time. So if you have a $10,000 account, notice how drastically it affects your position sizes. That's not what we want. So if you look over time, you see the budgets will grow dramatically more so versus the first one. For example, here we only made $12 after 10 cycles. Here, with the percentage-based system, we made $65 after 10 cycles because it compounded each cycle. That is what makes this stand out for growing an account. This does not compound your profits at all. This approach does. But again, it is not suitable for an accumulation process. Accumulation means you have more than one position at a time growing. Those positions need to be fixed and consistent. This is not fixed and consistent. It's on a sliding, decreasing scale that hurts the profits. You can see here $1.14 versus $1.20. It may not seem like much at these numbers, but if you're dealing with an account of, say, $10,000, there is a huge discrepancy. Now, what happens if we combine the best of both of these worlds? Meaning we get fixed position sizes and dynamic percentages. Well, that gives us our third table, the way Jackrabbit now functions. Relay now records fixed position sizes for accumulation, but it dynamically compounds each trade cycle as it goes. So here you see the compounding. Again, it doesn't look like much when you compare side by side, but as you go over time, it does increase. Let's increase this to a $2,000 budget. Notice the position size dynamically changed and is fixed for all trade cycles. Excuse me, for all positions within a single trade cycle. Let's keep going. So as you can see, it consumes the account in very specific position sizes. The position sizes grow appropriate to the account balance, unlike the traditional way where the position size of the first position grows but then starts dynamically decreasing. The new approach, the position size remains the same consistently throughout the entire trade cycle, and that has a huge impact on the profitability. Let's set both accounts to a $10,000 budget and actually compare how that will affect. So $11.36 to $12. So you can see the compounding is quite significant. It doesn't seem like it, but the longer this process runs, the more the compounding will have a huge impact. And as you can see here, the total volume also has a significant decrease. 1136 for total volume versus 1200 here for total volume of 12 steps. That is important when you look at the overall long run of your total balances. Both are going to compound, but here you really see just how much the compounding takes place and the benefit of having the best of both worlds. Having fixed position size along with dynamic positions at the beginning of the cycle really and dramatically enhances what your profitability is going to be in a long-term situation. So let's reset these back to 1,000. And as you can see, it's not very obvious at smaller numbers. The compounding is there, but not obvious. The subtlety, though, is important, because as it grows on its own, it becomes more pronounced. Now let's talk about the advantages and disadvantages of each methodology. Flat position size is a wonderful process that has some very important advantages. The first advantage is it works on every single exchange out there. It works with more than one asset in a single account. That is critical. Many exchanges don't allow sub-accounts unless you have a large amount of capital. So this will work where the other two methods won't work unless you can get multiple sub-accounts. You can use this on any account structure. You can only use percentage-based trading when you can separate your assets into multiple sub-accounts. You cannot have 2 or 3 coins sharing one account where all 3 of them are fighting over the amount of resources in the account. It will quickly become overextended and you will lose money. So flat position size is the perfect choice for when you only have one account and you want to trade more than one coin in that single account. The second approach works best if you have a trading paradigm that uses only one position, meaning you are explicitly not using accumulation. Then it doesn't matter. They're both pretty much the same either way, as the position sizes are going to be identical on the first purchase. So there's no benefit for a non-accumulating strategy. If you have an accumulating strategy, then obviously this approach is the best. And this approach is what gives equilibrium its advantage. But there are disadvantages to each of these as well. And the irony of it is the disadvantage for the second two is an advantage here. Because this has a fixed amount that once you set it up doesn't change. You can deposit and withdraw from this account without affecting the trading. So if you base your budget on $1,000 and your account has $1,500 in it, when you're using flat position trading, you can take out $500 and not affect the trading. That is a huge advantage that this offers. Now the second approach, the traditional, this also works very well if you want to take out money. If you want to take out, say, $500, it doesn't matter. The system recalculates every single purchase based upon the new percentages. So it's not a big problem if you need to take money out of the account. That is actually an advantage for this process. However, the new approach, or the combination of the first two, where once the position is decided on the first purchase, it's not reevaluated for the rest of the trade cycle. This system does not allow you to take anything out of the account without the risk of blowing it up, because it accounts for every single penny in the account when the very first trade is made. So if you change your budget, it's going to blow up everything because the mathematics are based upon a $10 position. So if you are 3 trades into the system, it's still going to go through $10 positions. But now with half the budget, you are overextended and are going to lose money. So this type of framework, it's high growth aggression, but it does not allow flexibility of taking money out of the process. It is specifically built for an accumulation approach. It believes you're going to make more than one purchase per trade cycle, and each purchase needs to be the same. So it carefully calculates out whatever your budget is based upon the maximum worst case scenario for ensuring the trade cycle is able to complete. So while it has the advantage of having the highest growth opportunity, and it is appropriate to specifically an accumulation strategy, it does not have the flexibility of the previous two paradigms. That is a disadvantage if you need to take money out. You will have to stop your trading and figure out how to adjust everything midstream. That is complicated. But accumulation cycles are complicated to begin with. and Jackrabbit is built solely on accumulation cycles. So this approach is now what is used for maintaining Jackrabbit's new percentage-based systems. Every single accumulation within a trade cycle will be fixed at a very specific position size, appropriate to the accumulation itself. The volume of your asset won't decrease per position the way it does in the traditional percentage-based system. Your volume will be guaranteed to maintain consistency throughout the entire trading process. This is a maximization of profit appropriate to accumulation. Now, while the other one does look nice in flexibility, when you start changing volume midstream, it causes problems within the trading itself of the averages. That is the biggest downfall to this process, is you are affecting your averages. By affecting your averages, you're actually causing issues later on that could cause losses. The third process solves that by maintaining consistent volume at each step. There's no guesswork in terms of the volume of the asset. So the third approach and the first approach are absolute volume trading processes. The dynamic volume is a hot mess in the long run over many wide volatile assets. So while profitable, very profitable compared to the first one, you do need to be aware that having dynamic volume does have consequences. The third one has fixed volume and it does very well. That is the critical point to this whole process. So as you can see here, 113 through the total volume on the traditional percentage-based system, 120 for the total volume of the new approach or fixed volume-based system. That is a difference of 7. And 7 can be a big factor when you're averaging, particularly when you start escalating to recipes that have 20 or 30 positions. The process begins to degrade even further the higher the accumulations. So this is now the de facto standard for Jackrabbit to ensure consistent value of percentage-based trades and to maximize and leverage the growth of a single account as much as possible. Give this video a like, share it, leave a comment, let me know what you think. Let me know which method you prefer to use in your trading. Equilibrium uses this method. It's proven to be the best approach with a balanced based solution, but it's hard to beat this method when you have limited account sizes, or you can only have one account and no sub-accounts. The second method has its place, but I prefer either the first or the third based upon what I'm trying to achieve. Until next time.